Camera focuses on a close-up of a woman's hand gripping an airplane armrest, a stunning emerald engagement ring glinting under the cabin lights. Her phone pings with a notification, "Congratulations on your engagement," from someone named Alex. As she smiles, another notification appears, a photo of her ex proposing to someone else with the caption, "Breaking news. Tech heir Nathan Montgomery engaged to socialite Vanessa." The woman laughs softly, holds up her ring to the window and whispers, "You sent me away thinking I'd come crawling back. You didn't expect I'd return with another man's ring and his billion-dollar empire." 6 months earlier, I stood frozen in front of my closet, staring at the elegant suitcases Nathan had sent over as a Bon Voyage gift. Each designer piece represented the life I thought we were building together. Polished, prestigious, and seemingly perfect. The Geneva Fellowship only accepts 5 researchers globally, Sophia, Nathan had said 3 weeks ago, his voice carrying that practiced enthusiasm he used at business dinners. "This is exactly what you've been working toward." What he didn't say, "This is exactly what I need to move forward with my real plans." I folded another sweater with trembling hands, remembering how I discovered the fellowship application in my sent emails, completed and submitted, though I had only casually mentioned it once. Nathan had filled it out for me, attached my research portfolio, and even drafted a personal statement so compelling I hardly recognized my own ambitions in it. "It's just 6 months, he'd reassured me last night, his arms wrapped around me in his penthouse overlooking the city. "We'll be stronger for it. Your career deserves this spotlight." My phone buzzed with a text from Maya. "Are you sure about this fellowship? Seems convenient timing with Montgomery Industries merger talks." I dismissed her concern with a quick reply. Maya had always been suspicious of Nathan's intentions, calling him suspiciously supportive of my career only when it aligned with his schedule. But she hadn't seen how he looked at me across crowded rooms, or felt the weight of the Montgomery legacy he was willing to share with me, eventually. The doorbell rang precisely at 8 a.m. Nathan's driver, not Nathan himself, had come to collect me for the airport. Another text arrived. "In emergency board meeting. We'll try to break away to say goodbye at terminal. Proud of you." 3 years together and I was being sent off by his staff. At the terminal, I kept checking the departures board, delaying my entry through security as long as possible. With 10 minutes until final boarding, Nathan appeared, slightly disheveled but devastatingly handsome in his tailored suit. "There's my genius," he said, kissing my cheek rather than my lips. "Was that new cologne? Listen, I've arranged everything with Dr. Reeves. He's expecting you tomorrow at the lab. The apartment is stocked and my father's assistant will check in weekly." Something flickered across his expression when I reached for his hand. "Nathan, are we okay?" "Of course we are," he replied, checking his watch. "This is a tremendous opportunity for you." "For us," he added almost as an afterthought. His phone buzzed with a text he angled away from me. "The board," he explained. "Merger negotiations are intense right now." "With the Chin Group?" I asked, recalling the name from dinner conversations. A muscle twitched in his jaw. "Yes. Vanessa Chen's father is particular about partnership structures. You've met her." I hadn't heard him mention Vanessa before. "A few times. Business dinners." Nathan glanced at the departure board. "You need to go, Sophia. Switzerland awaits." His goodbye kiss felt rehearsed, too light, too quick. As I walked through security, I turned back to see him already on his phone, walking away before I'd even disappeared from view. On the plane, I scrolled through our text history, noticing how Nathan's messages had grown increasingly brief over the past month. Assignments abroad, late meetings, weekend business retreats. The classic signs had been there, but I'd been too trusting to acknowledge them. My phone pinged with an email from the Geneva Fellowship, containing orientation details and a welcome from Dr. Alexander Reeves. His message was oddly formal. "Ms. Parker, while your application was unexpected, the committee was impressed by your theoretical approaches. I look forward to discussing potential project alignments upon your arrival." Potential project alignments? Shouldn't that have been established already? I sent Nathan a quick "landed safely" text once we touched down, watching as the message delivered but remained unread. When had he turned off read receipts? Another small change I'd failed to notice. As the Swiss landscape rolled past my taxi window, a hollow feeling expanded in my chest. The fellowship was real, but something about my selection felt increasingly manufactured. Like the perfect solution to an inconvenient problem. Nathan had orchestrated my departure with meticulous care. What I didn't know then was exactly why I needed to be removed from the equation, and who was taking my place. The sleek glass building housing the Geneva Neuroscience Institute reflected the Alpine mountains like a funhouse mirror, distorting their majesty into something cold and artificial. Just like Nathan's support for my career, I thought bitterly as I dragged my luggage through the revolving doors. "I'm Sophia Parker," I told the receptionist in the marble lobby. "I'm here for the fellowship orientation with Dr. Reeves." She frowned slightly, tapping at her keyboard. "I don't see any orientation scheduled today. Are you certain about the date?" My stomach tightened. Yes, the email specifically said 9 a.m. on the 15th. After several phone calls in rapid Swiss German, she directed me to the 14th floor. No one greeted me as promised in Nathan's detailed briefing. No welcome package awaited. Just an empty hallway of closed laboratory doors. "Miss Parker." A deep voice startled me. I turned to find a tall man with intense gray eyes and prematurely silver-streaked dark hair. He wore a lab coat over a simple black sweater, no tie, nothing like the stuffy academic Nathan had described. "I'm Alexander Reeves. You're early." "Early?" My acceptance letter specified today. His eyebrows drew together. "Acceptance? We weren't scheduled to review international applications for another month." The floor seemed to tilt beneath me. "I received confirmation 6 weeks ago. I moved my entire life for this fellowship." Dr. Reeves, Alex as his badge read, motioned me into a conference room. "Let me see the communication you received." As he scrolled through my emails, his expression shifted from confusion to something darker. "These communications aren't from our official fellowship committee." He looked up sharply. "Your application was fast-tracked through an alternate channel. The Montgomery Foundation made a substantial donation last month, and suddenly your application appeared in my approved stack." "That's impossible," I whispered, though deep down, I already knew it was entirely possible. Nathan's family donated to institutions globally. It was their way of solving problems. And apparently I had become a problem. "Your credentials are impressive," Alex continued, "but the fellowship candidates typically have minimum 5 years postdoctoral experience." He hesitated. "You have too." He crawled up my neck. "I didn't know. I didn't ask Nathan to do this." "Nathan Montgomery?" Alex's eyes narrowed. "The Montgomery Industries heir?" I nodded miserably. "My boyfriend. Or at least I thought he was." Alex's clinical detachment softened slightly. "Look, I don't know what's happening in your personal life, but this puts both of us in an awkward position. The fellowship is legitimate, but your acceptance circumvented proper protocols." "I'll book a flight home," I said, fighting back tears. "I'm sorry for the confusion." "That won't be necessary," he replied after a long pause. "Since you're here, we can create an adjusted research position. It won't be the prestigious fellowship you were expecting, but it might be valuable experience nonetheless." My phone buzzed. Maya had sent a link to a fashion blog showing Nathan at Le Bernardin last night, supposedly while working late, seated intimately beside a striking woman identified as tech heiress Vanessa Chen. The timestamp showed 10 p.m. New York time, exactly when Nathan had texted claiming he was reviewing contracts at the office. "Are you all right?" Alex asked. I looked up from my phone, vision blurred. It seems I was sent to Switzerland under false pretenses in more ways than one. Over the next few hours, Alex helped me get settled in a modest institute apartment, nothing like the luxury accommodation Nathan had described. While arranging temporary lab credentials, Alex explained his own research, pausing occasionally to gauge my understanding. To his evident surprise, I asked questions that challenged his assumptions. "You actually understand the implications of synaptic plasticity in neurodegeneration?" he asked, surprised. "I was top of my class at Columbia before taking a research position at Montgomery Medical," I replied. "Nathan's father hired me, but the position never quite matched my qualifications." "Why did you stay?" I'd never asked myself that question directly. I thought it was temporary, that eventually my work would speak for itself. "And your relationship with Montgomery gave you reason to be patient," Alex observed, not unkindly. My phone rang. Maya again. I excused myself to answer. Have you checked Instagram today? She asked without preamble. Sophia, there's something you need to see. If it's about Nathan having dinner with Vanessa Chin, I already know. No, Maya said quietly. It's worse. Vanessa just posted a story from Nathan's family estate in the Hamptons. She's been staying there all week, while you were packing for Switzerland. That night, alone in my sterile temporary apartment, I finally allowed myself to see the truth. The prestigious fellowship, the sudden opportunity abroad. None of it had been about my career. I had been exiled, wrapped in a pretty package of professional advancement, while Nathan cleared the path for someone new. 14 days into my Swiss exile, I'd established a routine. Mornings in Alex's lab reviewing research protocols, afternoons conducting preliminary experiments, evenings alone in my apartment trying not to check Nathan's social media. He had texted sporadically, always brief, always busy, always with vague questions about Switzerland rather than us. I was analyzing neural tissue samples when Alex entered the lab, his expression uncharacteristically hesitant. Sophia, perhaps you should take a break. He placed a cup of coffee beside my microscope. I'm fine. These samples need. Your phone has been buzzing continuously for 10 minutes, he interrupted. And there's something trending on social media you might want to address privately before someone here mentions it. My stomach dropped as I unlocked my phone. 17 missed calls from Maya. 38 text notifications. And one news alert from a celebrity gossip site I'd never subscribed to. Breaking. Tech heir Nathan Montgomery proposes to socialite Vanessa Chin in romantic Central Park ceremony. The accompanying photo showed Nathan on one knee beside the boathouse, offering up a massive diamond to a tearful Vanessa. Their intimate moment had somehow been captured by a professional photographer from multiple angles, with the evening light creating a perfect golden glow. My hand flew to my mouth, not from the shock of their engagement, I'd begun to suspect, but from the setting. The Central Park boathouse at sunset. With white roses and string lights. It was the exact proposal Nathan had described to me on our second anniversary as our future. Right down to the specific bench where he claimed his parents had first met. A proposal he had apparently kept in his back pocket, just for someone else. I need air, I managed, stumbling toward the exit. Alex followed me to the Institute's rooftop garden. I'm sorry you had to see that. 3 weeks, I whispered. It took him 3 weeks to propose to her after sending me across the ocean. A memory surfaced, finding a jewelry store receipt in Nathan's pocket 4 months ago. When confronted, he'd smiled mysteriously. It's for my mother's birthday, nosy girl. Don't spoil the surprise. Another lie. He'd been planning his exit strategy for months. My phone rang again, Nathan this time. After 4 rings I answered. I was going to tell you, he began without greeting. Things with Vanessa accelerated unexpectedly. Unexpectedly. My laugh sounded unhinged even to my ears. You proposed in the exact spot you told me you'd proposed to me. Using the exact plan you described as our special moment. Pause. Sophia, be reasonable. This fellowship was an opportunity for both of us to move on. Move on. You never told me we needed to move on. You sent me here under the pretense of supporting my career. And I did support your career. That fellowship is legitimate. A fellowship I wasn't qualified for that I never actually applied to. My voice shook. Your father's company made a donation and suddenly I'm accepted. Tell me, Nathan, whose idea was that? Yours or your father's? His sigh carried across the Atlantic, heavy with inconvenience rather than remorse. Dad thought sending you to Switzerland would be cleaner than a messy breakup before merger negotiations with Vanessa's family. The Chin Group is essential to our expansion in Asia. The clinical coldness of his explanation hit harder than any emotional outburst could have. 3 years together and I'd been removed like an accounting discrepancy. How long were you seeing her while we were together? That's not relevant now, Nathan replied. What matters is that you have a prestigious position in Switzerland, and I've ensured you'll be financially comfortable. My phone pinged with a message from Maya. A security video from Montgomery Industries showing Nathan and Vanessa kissing in an elevator 2 months before my departure, his hand sliding possessively down her back. I saw the elevator footage, Nathan, I said quietly. From March. A sharp intake of breath. Who sent you that? That's corporate property. Does it matter? Were you ever going to tell me the truth? Sophia, be reasonable. These things happen in our circle. It's rarely just about emotion. There are family considerations, business alignments. The Chin merger will secure. I hung up, my body trembling with rage and humiliation. Alex had maintained a respectful distance during my call, but now moved closer. Would you like me to leave you alone? No, I whispered, unexpected tears spilling down my cheeks. I've been alone enough. I pulled from my bag the small crystal paperweight Nathan had given me as a parting gift, engraved with what I'd thought was a romantic promise. Distance only brings us closer. With a guttural cry, I hurled it against the concrete wall where it shattered into glittering shards. Alex didn't flinch. He simply knelt and began carefully gathering the broken pieces. Don't, I said, wiping my tears. It's not worth saving. Perhaps not, he agreed, continuing anyway. But someone should help clean up the mess he made. The lab became my sanctuary in the weeks following Nathan's betrayal. I arrived before dawn and left well after midnight, pouring my anger into research protocols that had previously intimidated me. The familiar rhythm of scientific inquiry, hypothesis, experiment, analysis, provided structure when everything else felt chaotic. You're pushing yourself too hard, Alex remarked one evening as I pored over data spreadsheets. The rest of the staff had departed hours ago, leaving just the two of us under the fluorescent lights. I'm fine, I replied automatically. You've been fine for 16 straight hours today. He closed my laptop with gentle firmness. Even brilliant minds need rest, Sophia. I looked up, ready to argue, but the concern in his eyes wasn't patronizing like Nathan's had been. It was genuine. I realized with a start that Alex had never once questioned my capabilities or suggested limits to my potential. Unlike Nathan, who had framed every accomplishment of mine as somehow linked to his influence. I've been reviewing your previous research, Alex said, pulling up a chair. The paper you started on neural regeneration pathways. Why didn't you publish it? I tensed. How did you find that? It was just a draft. A brilliant draft. Your theoretical framework could revolutionize how we approach Alzheimer's treatment. The reminder stung. That paper represented months of late nights and early mornings, work I'd been genuinely proud of until Nathan had casually mentioned it might overshadow his father's upcoming medical journal feature. Nathan thought the timing wasn't right, I admitted. His father was unveiling similar research and it would have seemed competitive. Alex's expression hardened slightly. So you shelved groundbreaking work to protect someone else's ego? Put so bluntly, I felt foolish. It sounds pathetic when you say it like that. Not pathetic, he corrected. Conditioned. We often minimize ourselves for people who claim to want our success while actually fearing it. His words hit uncomfortably close. How many times had I dimmed my light to keep Nathan comfortable? Declined speaking engagements that conflicted with his events? Redirected conversations when colleagues showed too much interest in my research instead of his family's company? I'd like to see you publish it, Alex said. With updates based on the work we're doing here. As lead author, naturally. I stared at him. You're the institute director. Why would you? Because it's your work and it's exceptional. He shrugged as if the answer were obvious. Science advances when the best ideas lead, regardless of titles or connections. Over the next weeks, our late-night collaboration became routine. Alex pushed me intellectually in ways Nathan never had, challenging assumptions without undermining confidence. We developed a shorthand in the lab, anticipating each other's thoughts, finishing each other's hypotheses. You should present at the Neuroscience Summit in Vienna, Alex suggested one night as we reviewed our latest results. The regeneration protocol is ready to share with the field. I hesitated. I've never presented at an international conference. Then it's overdue. His confidence in me was unwavering. The deadline for submissions is tomorrow. I've already drafted an abstract. At the Vienna summit 2 weeks later, my presentation received a standing ovation. Afterward, researchers from 3 continents approached with collaboration offers. A leading pharmaceutical company requested a meeting to discuss potential clinical applications. Dr. Parker, a distinguished researcher, called out as Alex and I navigated the reception. Your findings on synaptic regeneration are revolutionary. Montgomery Medical must be devastated to have lost you. I froze, but Alex smoothly intervened. Their loss is the global scientific community's gain. Later, as we shared celebratory drinks on the hotel terrace, Alex revealed more of himself than he had before. I understand the aftermath of betrayal, he said quietly. My ex-fiancé was more interested in my family's medical technology patents than in me. I discovered she'd been feeding information to competitors for months. That's horrible, I said. How did you recover? By remembering that her actions revealed her character, not my worth. He held my gaze. The same is true for you, Sophia. Nathan's choices show his limitations, not yours. His hand rested inches from mine on the table. Neither of us moved to close the distance, but something shifted between us. An acknowledgement of possibility. Back in Geneva, job offers began arriving from prestigious institutions around the world. One position at Columbia would return me to New York, to Nathan's territory. You should consider it, Alex said when I mentioned the Columbia offer, his voice carefully neutral. Your career shouldn't be defined by avoiding him. It's not about avoiding Nathan, I realized aloud. It's about choosing what actually fulfills me. That weekend, Alex invited me hiking in the Alps. As we reached a stunning overlook, the valley sprawling beneath us, he turned to me with uncharacteristic hesitation. I find myself thinking about you beyond our research, Sophia, he admitted. But I respect if that's not what you need right now. The mountain air felt clearer than any moment since my arrival in Switzerland. For the first time in years, I was seeing possibilities not filtered through someone else's expectations. Your solution for targeted neural repair has significant market applications, Alex explained as we walked through the Institute's prototype lab. 3 months into my Swiss exile, I barely recognized my professional life. The timid researcher who'd arrived in Geneva had been replaced by someone who confidently led international conference calls and challenged established protocols. My phone lit up with a notification, an email from Nathan. Sophia, congratulations on your breakthrough research. Always knew you had potential. Let's catch up soon. The Montgomery Foundation is exploring new neuroscience investments that might interest your team. Alex glanced over my shoulder. I wondered when he'd reach out. 3 days after our research made the cover of Neuroscience Today, I noted dryly. What remarkable timing. It's not just the research, Alex said. He's fishing for information about my family's company. Industry rumors about a potential Reeves Medical partnership would have reached him by now. I blinked in surprise. Despite our growing closeness, Alex rarely discussed his family's vast medical technology empire. Like me, he preferred to be recognized for his work rather than his connections. The Montgomery-Chin merger isn't going as smoothly as they hoped, he continued, showing me an industry report on his tablet. Vanessa's family company has been concealing significant debt. Nathan's looking for backup options. And suddenly I'm worth talking to again, I said with a hollow laugh. Later that evening, I researched the Montgomery-Chin merger more thoroughly. Behind the glossy engagement photos and power couple narratives lay a struggling business alliance. The Chin Group's supposed Asian market dominance was largely smoke and mirrors. Their quarterly reports showed declining revenue masked by creative accounting. Alex called as I was closing my laptop. Dinner at my place tonight? I've been experimenting with risotto. His apartment was nothing like I'd expected from someone of his wealth. Spacious but understated, filled with books and art rather than showy luxury. Nothing like Nathan's sterile showroom of an apartment where I'd been afraid to disturb the precise staging. There's something I've been meaning to discuss, Alex said as we finished dinner. My family's company is planning to expand neurological treatment centers globally. The board wants to consider an American partnership. With Montgomery Industries? I asked, tensing. That would be the obvious choice. He refilled our wine glasses. But I've proposed an alternative strategy, one that leverages our proprietary technology without compromising our research ethics. Which Montgomery Industries might do? Their trial protocols have always prioritized speed over safety, Alex confirmed. I can't align with that approach, regardless of financial incentives. His integrity struck me forcefully. Nathan had always treated ethical corners as inconvenient hurdles to be navigated, not principles to be honored. After dinner, Alex suggested we visit his private observatory on the building's roof. The glass dome offered a spectacular view of the stars above Lake Geneva. Beautiful, I breathed as the telescope revealed Saturn's rings in perfect clarity. Sophia, Alex said softly, his voice suddenly serious. These past months working together have been the most intellectually stimulating of my career. I turned from the telescope to find him watching me with intensity. But it's more than that, he continued. I've fallen in love with your brilliance, your resilience, your compassion. My heart hammered as he reached into his pocket and withdrew a small velvet box. Inside nested a stunning emerald ring, the deep green stone surrounded by tiny diamonds in an antique setting. Not a diamond solitaire, he said with a small smile. I thought you might be averse to traditional engagement rings after. It's perfect, I whispered, genuinely moved by his thoughtfulness. I know it's soon, he acknowledged. And I'll understand if you need time. I stopped him with a kiss. Yes. My answer is yes. Later that night, as Alex slept beside me, I received a text from Maya. Nathan and Vanessa's engagement gala set for next Friday at the Plaza. Entire NYC elite circle invited. Attached was a digital invitation Maya had somehow acquired, followed by another message. Also, you're keynoting the International Neuroscience Forum in NYC that same weekend, right? Interesting timing. I glanced at my emerald ring, now sparkling in the moonlight streaming through Alex's bedroom window. The New York conference had been scheduled months ago, long before I knew I'd be returning with a completely transformed life. Everything okay? Alex murmured sleepily. Maya just informed me that my return to New York coincides with Nathan and Vanessa's engagement gala. Alex propped himself up on one elbow. Does that bother you? I considered the question honestly. No. But I think I'd like to keep our engagement private until after I present my research. I want my work to stand on its own. Of course. He kissed my shoulder. Although I should warn you, my mother will insist on announcing it in the European press immediately afterward. She's rather traditional about these things. I laughed softly. So I'll return to New York as Dr. Sophia Parker, pioneering neuroscientist, and fly home as the future Mrs. Reeves, engaged to European royalty-adjacent medical technology royalty? Unless you'd prefer to cancel the New York trip entirely. We could announce our engagement from Switzerland. I twirled the emerald ring thoughtfully. No. I think it's time I returned to face what I left behind. Not for closure or revenge, but to reclaim my narrative on my terms. The International Neuroscience Forum buzzed with anticipation. Screens throughout the venue displayed the conference schedule, with my keynote address prominently featured. Dr. Sophia Parker, Neural Regeneration Pathways in Degenerative Disorders. For months ago I'd fled New York heartbroken and humiliated. Now I returned as a leading researcher whose work had sparked a bidding war among pharmaceutical companies. The irony wasn't lost on me. Dr. Parker. A conference organizer rushed over. Your parents have arrived. We've upgraded them to VIP seating as requested by Dr. Reeves. My parents. The surprise Alex had arranged without telling me. I spotted them in the lobby. My father in his best suit, my mother beaming with pride. They'd never approved of Nathan, sensing his conditional affection long before I had. Sophia. My mother embraced me. Your Alex arranged everything. First-class tickets, hotel suite. We tried to decline, but he insisted this was your moment, and we shouldn't miss it. Your moment, not our moment, or my contribution to your success. The distinction spoke volumes about the difference between Alex and Nathan. As I guided my parents to their seats, a familiar voice called my name. Dr. Parker. What an unexpected pleasure. Gerald Montgomery, Nathan's father, approached with calculated cordiality. The man who had arranged my Swiss exile now extended his hand as if greeting a valued colleague. Mr. Montgomery, I replied coolly. Your research is causing quite a stir, he said, lowering his voice. Montgomery Medical would be interested in discussing potential applications. Perhaps after your talk. My schedule is quite full, I replied. But you're welcome to contact my agent regarding licensing opportunities. His eyebrows shot up at agent, and I savored his surprise. No longer was I the amenable girlfriend grateful for professional crumbs. Of course, he recovered smoothly. Nathan mentioned you might be returning for our gala tomorrow. We'd love to have you attend for old time's sake. Before I could respond, Alex appeared at my side, resting his hand lightly on my lower back. Sophia, they're ready for your sound check. Gerald's eyes darted between us, recalibrating in real time. Dr. Reeves. I wasn't aware you were attending. I wouldn't miss Dr. Parker's keynote, Alex replied pleasantly. Her work is revolutionizing our entire field. Gerald's smile tightened. Indeed. I was just extending an invitation to our family event tomorrow evening. How kind, Alex said. Though I believe we have prior commitments. As we walked away, I whispered, prior commitments? Your choice entirely, Alex murmured. I simply didn't want him pressuring you. My keynote address exceeded all expectations. The auditorium fell silent as I detailed our breakthrough protocol, erupting into thunderous applause during the clinical application slides. Questions afterward came from research directors at Harvard, Johns Hopkins, and the NIH, all clearly impressed. At the reception, I was surrounded by colleagues eager to discuss collaboration opportunities when I spotted Nathan across the room, watching me with an expression I couldn't quite decipher. He'd gained weight since I'd last seen him, his face slightly puffy beneath his carefully styled hair. You've attracted quite the audience, Alex commented, handing me a glass of champagne. Including one I didn't expect. I nodded discreetly toward Nathan, now making his way toward us. Sophia. Nathan's voice carried the practiced warmth he used at business functions. Extraordinary presentation. You've clearly thrived in Switzerland. Dr. Parker's work speaks for itself. Alex interjected smoothly, extending his hand. Alexander Reeves. I don't believe we've been formally introduced. Nathan's handshake was a beat too firm. Nathan Montgomery. Sophia and I go way back. Yes, I've heard quite a bit about your arrangement, Alex replied, his tone pleasant but pointed. Nathan's smile didn't reach his eyes. Sophia, might I borrow you for a moment? To discuss potential research applications at Montgomery Medical? Anything you'd like to discuss with me can include Dr. Reeves, I replied evenly. We're research partners. Among other things, I presume? Nathan's gaze flickered to Alex's protective stance beside me. Montgomery Medical's sudden interest in my research is remarkable, I said, changing the subject. Especially considering how quickly your father arranged my departure from the company. Nathan had the decency to look uncomfortable. That was business, Sophia. Nothing personal. Relocating me to another continent to facilitate your engagement wasn't personal? I asked, keeping my voice level. The fellowship was a genuine opportunity, he insisted. And clearly it worked out well for you. His eyes narrowed at Alex. Though I wonder if the Reeves family's interest in Montgomery Medical's competitive research might have influenced their interest in you. Alex stiffened beside me, but I placed a calming hand on his arm. Unlike some relationships, ours wasn't strategically arranged by corporate parents. Before Nathan could respond, Vanessa appeared at his side, her diamond engagement ring catching the light ostentatiously. Nathan, darling, your father needs you for the Bloomberg interview. She registered my presence with obvious shock, quickly masked by a brittle smile. Sophia. What a surprise. I thought you were in Europe permanently. Just back for the conference, I replied. Congratulations on your engagement. Vanessa's eyes darted to Alex, lingering on his hand resting at my waist. Her expression shifted as recognition dawned. You're Alexander Reeves. Of Reeves Medical Technologies. Dr. Reeves, Alex confirmed with a slight nod. The Swiss medical dynasty, she continued, recalculating visibly. Nathan, did you know Sophia was working with the Reeves family? Their pharmaceutical division is twice the size of Montgomery's European operations. Nathan's jaw tightened. We should join my father for that interview, Vanessa. As they walked away, I caught Vanessa whispering urgently, her eyes darting back to Alex and me, clearly connecting dots about potential business implications. That went better than expected, I murmured to Alex. The night's still young, he replied. And I suspect we haven't seen the last of them. You can't seriously be considering attending, Maya said, sprawled across my hotel bed while I flipped through potential outfits. After everything Nathan did? I held up an emerald silk dress that complemented my engagement ring, still hidden from public knowledge. It's not about Nathan. It's about reclaiming my dignity. By walking into the lion's den? Maya sat up. These people exiled you, Sophia. They literally shipped you to another continent. And it was the best thing that ever happened to me, I replied, surprising myself with how genuinely I meant it. I found my voice, my work, and I glanced at the ring. Maya's eyes widened. Oh, way. He grabbed my hand, examining the emerald. When were you going to mention you're engaged to Dr. Gorgeous Genius Billionaire? I laughed. We're keeping it private until after this weekend. I wanted my research to stand on its own merit. But now you're going to Nathan's engagement party wearing another man's ring? That's not reclaiming dignity, that's dropping a nuclear bomb. Perhaps she was right. Was I being honest about my motives? Alex had expressed reservations but ultimately supported my decision. I need to look him in the eye, I explained. Not as the woman he discarded, but as the scientist I've become. The person I was always meant to be if I hadn't dimmed my light for his comfort. Maya nodded slowly. Then we do this right. She reached for her phone. My friend at Vogue owes me a favor. Let's make sure you're the most elegant woman in that room. The Plaza Hotel ballroom glittered with New York's elite, champagne flowing as photographers captured the celebration of the year. Alex and I paused at the entrance, his hand steady at the small of my back. Ready? He asked softly. I took a deep breath, the emerald ring heavy on my finger. We'd decided that hiding it would seem deceptive. We weren't announcing anything, but neither were we concealing our relationship. As we entered, the immediate ripple of whispers was almost comical. Alex Reeves was recognizable to anyone in medical or financial circles. His family's company was among Europe's most valuable privately held corporations. His appearance with me at Nathan's engagement party was social dynamite. Sophia. Nathan's mother appeared suddenly, embracing me with genuine warmth that had always contrasted with her husband's calculating demeanor. We've missed you terribly. Mrs. Montgomery, this is Dr. Alexander Reeves, I introduced. My colleague from the Geneva Institute. Her eyes widened in recognition. Dr. Reeves, what an unexpected pleasure. Your family's work in medical technology is unparalleled. We navigated through clusters of guests. Acceptance of our presence clearly divided between those aligned with the Montgomery family and those sensing a power shift. The Chens kept their distance, Vanessa's father watching our movements with poorly disguised calculation. Nathan intercepted us at the champagne table, his practiced smile strained. Sophia. I'm surprised you came. Congratulations, Nathan, I replied with genuine equanimity. The celebration is lovely. Something flashed in his eyes. Disappointment at my composure, perhaps. Could we speak privately? For closure. I glanced at Alex, who nodded. I'll find your parents, he said, squeezing my hand before stepping away. Nathan led me to a quiet alcove off the main ballroom. You look different, he said finally. Happy, I supplied. The word you're looking for is happy. His expression hardened. I see you've moved on rather efficiently yourself. Was Reeves part of your plan all along? A strategic alliance to rival my engagement. Not everyone approaches relationships as business mergers, Nathan. His family's company is our biggest European competitor, he pressed. You can't expect me to believe that's coincidence. I expect nothing from you anymore, I replied calmly. That's the difference. Nathan stepped closer. I made a mistake, Sophia. This engagement, it's complicated. Family expectations, market pressures. His voice lowered. If things were different, if we could start over. Are you serious? I stared in disbelief. You're suggesting this at your own engagement party? Vanessa understands business arrangements, he said dismissively. The Chin merger is falling apart anyway. Their Asian market share was grossly misrepresented. I shook my head, amazed at his audacity. You didn't send me away to give me an opportunity, Nathan. You exiled me to avoid inconvenience. You never saw me, not really. You saw an accessory to your life, removable when something shinier came along. That's not fair, he protested, reaching for my hand. I stepped back, but not before he noticed the emerald ring. His expression froze. Is that what I think it is? My private life is no longer your concern, I replied. So your relationship with Reeves is just coincidentally beneficial to your career? His voice rose. Did you consider that he might be using you for Montgomery Research Intelligence? Like you used me? A voice interrupted. Vanessa stood at the alcove entrance, eyes blazing. Offering to reconsider our engagement, the moment a better business prospect appears? Nathan paled. Vanessa, you misunderstood. I understood perfectly, she snapped, yanking off her massive diamond ring. 3 months of engagement and you've been hedging your bets the entire time. Guests turned toward the commotion as Vanessa's voice escalated. My father warned me about the Montgomery business tactics, but I defended you. Gerald Montgomery pushed through onlookers, face thunderous. Control your fiancé, Nathan. This is hardly the venue for ex-fiancé, Vanessa corrected bitterly. The Chin Group is withdrawing from merger negotiations, effective immediately. The ballroom erupted in murmurs as Vanessa stormed out, followed by her family's entourage. Nathan stood frozen, his carefully orchestrated future collapsing in real time. Alex appeared at my side, eyebrows raised at the unfolding chaos. I believe this concludes our social obligations, he murmured, guiding me toward the exit. As the doors closed behind us, he whispered, I knew you needed closure, but I think we just burned down the house instead. Despite everything, I couldn't help but laugh. Some structures aren't worth salvaging. New York awakened to scandal the morning after Nathan and Vanessa's implosion. Business headlines screamed about the collapsed Montgomery-Chin merger while society columns dissected the dramatic engagement party finale. One particularly ruthless Page 6 article noted, Montgomery left neuroscientist Parker for Chin heiress, only to lose both women and the business deal of the decade. I scrolled through the coverage with coffee in my hotel suite, feeling strangely detached from the drama that would have devastated me months earlier. Any regrets? Alex asked, joining me with fresh croissants from the hotel bakery. About attending? No. I set my phone aside. Though I didn't anticipate quite that level of chaos. Nathan created his own downfall, Alex observed. We were merely catalysts for an inevitable reaction. A notification appeared, Nathan requesting a private meeting to discuss recent developments. I declined without hesitation. You know, Alex said thoughtfully, I could still acquire Montgomery Medical's neuroscience division. Their stock is plummeting after the failed merger announcement. I looked up sharply. Please don't. That would validate Nathan's accusation that our relationship has business motivations. Alex's expression softened. You're right. Some victories aren't worth the cost to your soul. He took my hand. Besides, we're building something far more valuable than any corporate acquisition. My parents joined us for breakfast, my father still processing the previous evening's events. I always knew that Montgomery boy wasn't good enough for you, he declared, buttering his toast with unnecessary vigor. Richard, my mother admonished, let's focus on the positive. Sophia's brilliant career, her wonderful new relationship. She beamed at Alex. When do you plan to announce your engagement officially? Mother, I protested weakly. The emerald gave it away immediately, she laughed. I've never seen Sophia glow like this, and it's not just professional success. My father cleared his throat. Alexander, I appreciate how you've supported Sophia's work rather than overshadowing it. That speaks volumes about your character. Her brilliance deserves recognition, Alex replied simply. I'm fortunate to witness it firsthand. In that moment, the contrast between my past and future crystallized. Nathan had always positioned himself as the sun in my orbit. Alex stood beside me as an equal, our paths aligned but distinct. Later that afternoon, an unexpected message arrived. An elegant handwritten note from Elizabeth Montgomery, Nathan's mother. Sophia, while circumstances have been challenging, I want you to know how genuinely pleased I am about your scientific achievements and personal happiness. You deserve every success. Nathan's choices reflect his limitations, not yours. With sincere admiration, Elizabeth Montgomery. 3 months later, I returned to New York under different circumstances, as Maya's maid of honor. The small ceremony at the Botanical Gardens provided unexpected closure when Nathan appeared during the reception, visibly thinner and more subdued than at his failed engagement party. Congratulations on the Neuroscience Pioneer Award, he said, maintaining a respectful distance. The committee made the right choice. Thank you, I replied, surprised by his sincerity. Montgomery Medical is restructuring, he continued. Dad stepped down as CEO. I'm implementing more rigorous ethical protocols for our research programs. I nodded, appreciating the information without feeling invested in his redemption arc. That's good to hear. And congratulations on your engagement. His eyes briefly flickered to the emerald ring, now paired with a simple diamond band. The Reeves Foundation's new neurological research center is impressive. We're excited about the possibilities, I acknowledged. The joint initiative, combining Alex's resources with my research protocols, represented our shared vision rather than one person's ambition. Nathan hesitated. I didn't understand what partnership really meant until I lost you, Sophia. I thought relationships were extensions of business strategy. We want different things, I said gently. We always did. As he walked away, I felt the final thread between us dissolve, not with bitterness but with understanding. Some people entered your life as lessons, others as blessings. Alex joined me, champagne glasses in hand. Everything okay? Better than okay, I assured him. Just finding proper closure. Our flight back to Switzerland departed that evening, first-class seats offering privacy for reflection. As the Manhattan skyline receded below us, I turned my engagement ring thoughtfully in the cabin light. Second thoughts? Alex asked, noticing my contemplation. Quite the opposite, I replied. I was thinking about parallelism. 6 months ago, I flew away from New York heartbroken, manipulated into an exile designed to remove me from someone's life. Now I'm flying back to a home I chose, with work that fulfills me and a partner who values all of me. Alex laced his fingers through mine. From exile to empire. Not bad for half a year's work. I rested my head against his shoulder, watching America disappear beneath the clouds. He sent me away believing I would break, I murmured. Instead, I returned whole, wearing not just another man's ring, but carrying my own dreams that no one could exile again. The emerald caught the last rays of sunlight as we turned eastward, toward the future we were building together. One where neither of us needed to diminish our light for the other to shine.